So celebrities will often say it's a huge benefit to be able to blend in into a crowd, not be standing out. Many people with invisible disabilities like autism, ADHD will also say, unlike their friends in wheelchairs, it's wonderful to be able to fit in on a surface level. Well, because of my white skin and, just wonderful personality, I can fit in when I travel to almost incognito, incognito to places like I've been to Prague, France, Germany, Ukraine. I fit in perfectly until I open my mouth. Yeah, sure, you betcha, don't you know? And then I just find out that not that fitting in is a hidden privilege that many of us take for granted. Being a tall, blonde Caucasian in my 20s, unfortunately caused me to stand out when I traveled to smaller communities in Armenia, South Korea, China, and Japan. Residents in these countries would often approach me and want to be photographed, kind of like a sideshow celebrity novelty. One time when I was in a festival in China, in front of a big crowd, I was asked, will you please lie down and have a 5-ton elephant put its foot on your stomach and pulsate it up and down, for the onlooker's pleasure. Um, I'm all about new experiences for sure. But I stopped and I paused and I quickly evaluated the risk involved. And so I reluctantly had to pass because Kunming did not have quite the hospital of Mayo Clinic. And I wasn't sure if being crushed by a 10,000-pound mammal would be covered under my travel insurance. So if you know anything about insurance or the stock market or life in general, you know risk calculation is a part of everyday life. Last night, I went to a campaign class. We talked about evaluating the risks of running for public office. Having experienced working on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C., and now having experience as a local official, as a city council member, I have firsthand knowledge of how important it is to have good leaders in office. Today, as our Minnesota elected officials and their families are being shot and killed, and see my own children suffer the slander from the city-funded media, I too question the decision to run. What is the real price for calling out crooked politicians and unveiling the violations of leaders in powerful and money influential organizations? So today I want to talk about the brutal honesty, no hornswoggling. As I sat next to for years, politicians who have used their own office as stepping stones, personal advantages instead of public service to further their own career and their own agenda instead of serving the people. I compare my experience in Washington, D.C., and believe that there is more corruption here in Rochester, Minnesota. Not monetarial and, impact level, but more cronyism. It's thicker. The bribery and conflict of interest is alive and well here in Rochester. Asking the question, is it really worth running for office if you have integrity? So here's some of the truths. First, you'll never really fit in again. So people will always be coming to friends' parties, barbecues, church functions, and people you've never met, but they will already hate you before you walked into the door to introduce yourself. You will likely be blacklisted from jobs and forget dating sites or ever dating again, okay? So when you run for office, note that. Occasionally, you'll be at a garage sale and someone who actually pays attention, who goes to meetings, they'll come over and they'll be like, yay, we're so excited. Thank you for all you've done to stand up and whistleblow against corruption. But the irreversible damage to your economic future and the catastrophic harm to your physical and mental health need to be factored. With emptying your savings to survive and having your life expectancy lowered, it is a huge personal cost to run with integrity for office. The cost of calling out bad behavior of powerful people is often complete character assassination to you beyond repair. The forever loss of your upstanding reputation forever. I question maybe to all of you in your mind, besides Toastmasters, will I be remembered for being a compassionate Girl Scout leader, a hospice volunteer, a high school science teacher? Will my name be remembered for PTA fundraisers I fought for and volunteering in special education? Well, if you Google me, you'll see page and page and page of what public office does to your reputation. I highly doubt I'll be remembered for any of those. Neighbors who once loved me now believe the city-funded media, and I have been ostracized from community, organizations, families, and my entire church home. Speaking truth to power is far more dangerous to your mental and physical health than any 7-ton African bush elephant. When your most confidential private family therapist files for the last 10 years are court ordered to be disclosed to public knowledge, then you might realize the cost of whistleblowing. But in closing, I still encourage everyone to run. You should all run. Forget about your health and well-being and everything. I encourage you to get involved beyond your inner circle, have the courage to speak up and run. However, having seen what has happened to the Epstein survivors and government whistleblowers and leaders who won't rubber stamp corruption, I feel I need to put a warning label on the filing form for elected office. It would say, silence is safer for you and your family. If you bring up a problem, you will become the problem. And being stepped on by a 10,000-pound elephant will get you more YouTube likes. If you want publicity, choose the elephant. If running for office is worth it, is it? I don't know. It depends. But I do know if everyone remains silent, nothing will change. The more whistleblowers call out bad behavior, the more good people run for public office, the more our world will hopefully be better, more just and inclusive for generations. So next time you stand out to someone for whatever reason, and they ask you if a several-ton mammal can step on your torso, you should maybe smile and respond, well, anyone can be a circus performer, right? But it really takes big risk to make a difference and run for public office with integrity and honesty. By stepping up, you will be stepped on by the red Republicans, elephants, and the blue Democrat donkeys. You will be stepped on both simultaneously. And I tell you, that's a much better story to tell than a China experience with an elephant. So having integrity may not always be loved by everyone today, but the decisions and policies you make will be thanked in the hearts of generations to come, people you will never meet. Now that is worth the risk.